Hey everyone, welcome back to the next chapter. My name is Christopher Navo and I'm going to be your host. If this is your first time joining, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think of the content. Today's video is another weekly wrap up. I have one book completed from last week, two still ongoing, and one on the horizon. Let's take a look. The beast hissed a challenge. The stench of death waved toward her, blowing her loose strands of hair off her face. She did not flinch, instead hissing a threat back to the abomination before her, the friend she had failed. So to start off with what I read last week, we have Pathlighter. This is by Rob Lee. This was a advanced reader's copy provided to me by the author for a review, and it's released November 20th. So depending when you're watching this video, it's still available for pre-order, or you can order today if you are watching past November 20th. Very nice note in here by the author. Christopher, thank you so much for your interest in Pathlighter. I sincerely hope that you enjoy the book. Best of luck with all your endeavors and happy reading. Well, Rob, where to begin? First off, Rob really has a care for character, and it shows in this book. We follow several POVs. Each of these characters have a lot of depth, a lot of history and background that fuels their place in the story and in the plot of this book. And it just really goes to show that when you put a lot of that amount of work into character, especially when you have to rotate multiple characters and be able to juggle those personalities and the way they're presented, it just goes to show what amazing work you can do when you really focus on that character. Now, Rob's prose is very straightforward, but it comes off in a very impactful way, and it draws you in. You get invested, and you appreciate this approach. The book moves at a pretty steady to quick pace, and I never felt like there was a lag in this story, so it just kept a good rhythm going. When I got to an end of a chapter, I really wanted to read more. It would depend on if I was at that point, I was like, I got to get to bed for work tomorrow, or I had something else going on, because the way he ends chapters is just like you just want to continue, and I think that's just pretty cool. With world building here, we got a magic system that's very god power driven. I personally like that, only for the fact that that's kind of what I'm doing with my own personal book that I'm writing. So he does this really well. I think the magic was well delivered, and I want to see more in sequels to this story. I think you can really pinpoint Rob's initial love for Greek mythology. I think he states this himself. That was kind of like his original muse, and then he kind of took it into a whole different direction. But that base of that Greek mythology love is still there. It leaves a lot more to explore in this world, and yeah, that's just my hope, is just to see where Rob takes this. But again, please consider picking up Pathlighter. I highly recommend this book. It's a very strong, solid debut novel by this author, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So as to what I'm currently reading, I am reading Memories of Ice. This is book 3 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson. Now, admittedly, I did not read any last week. Unfortunately, I was focusing primarily on the 2 arcs I have going on. And these were just a little more of a priority for me because of the time sensitiveness of when their books release, and I wanted to get them completed. So my plan for Malazan is, when I finish the second arc, probably halfway through this week, I will read a couple of chapters into Malazan before I start my upcoming read. But I think since that one is a completely different genre, I can read the 2 simultaneously and get some more chapters in. I think I'm still okay on schedule-wise. I think the people I'm buddy reading Malazan with are all kind of in the same starting point anyway, so I don't feel like I'm too far behind. If that starts being a problem, then I will primarily focus on Malazan, but I still want to fit in some of these other reads I have planned and what I'm in the mood for. But based on just the intro I've read from Malazan, I know I'm in for just another Steven Erikson ride. So hopefully this week will be a little different than last week. And now that I got one of the arcs done, and I will get some chapters in for Malazan. So the other book I'm currently reading is The Bloodstones. This is by Tori Tekken. This is another arc that is scheduled to release later this month, November 28th of 2023. I did read a little bit last week just to get a taste, but I wanted to get to Pathlighter first because it did have the earlier release date. Now that I'm returning back to Bloodstones and I read the first few chapters, I can tell I'm in for a treat. Tori immediately sets a very grim and dark mood. The characters here are already somebody I want to be invested in, and you could tell that she put a lot of care in those opening chapters. From my discussion with her, she worked did 8 revisions of especially the first chapter, because she really wanted to make sure she grabbed that reader, and boy does she. So we'll see how the rest of this book goes. I should probably have this wrapped up probably by Thanksgiving, and be ready to talk fully about the book by next weekly wrap-up. So as to what I have upcoming for reads, well, of course, I'm going to continue Malazan. After I finish The Bloodstones, I am going to take a couple days strictly to focus on Malazan, get a couple of chapters in. That might not sound like much, but if you ever seen a Malazan chapter, that's like almost a quarter of a regular sized book. So that's what I plan to do. And then I'm going to intermingle Malazan in with another read that I have planned, and this will probably finish out my November. As I mentioned last week, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from fantasy, excluding Malazan, and touch on some historical fiction. And the choice I picked was Genghis Khan, Birth of an Empire by Kong Ingleton. This is book 1 of the Kong Dynasty, or the Conqueror series. It's known by a couple names, including the first book. I know in the States it's called Birth of an Empire, but I think all across the rest of the world it's called Wolf of the Plains. I don't know why, but so if you have Wolf of the Plains, that's essentially the same as the Birth of the Empire, same material inside. This is also a buddy read. This is going to be with Chris from Fictional Escapists. We wanted to get into some historical fiction, and this was the choice. Genghis Khan was born to Temujin, the son of a Khan, raised in a clan of hunters migrating across the rugged steppe. Shaped by abandonment and betrayal, Temujin endured, driven by a singular fury, to survive in the face of death, to kill before being killed, and to conquer enemies who could come without warning from beyond the horizon. Through a series of courageous raids, Temujin's legend grew until he was chasing a vision: to unite many tribes into one, to make the earth tremble under the hoofbeats of 1,000 war horses, and to subject all nations and empires to his will. Next up here, I got a little mini weekly book haul. This week, I received my Last War trilogy from the Broken Binding. This is by Mike Shackle, and it includes We Are the Dead, the first book, A Fool's Hope, and last, and a little more thicker of a book, Until the Last. I've been wanting to read this series for a long time now. I've heard some fantastic things about it, specifically from Mike, from Mike's Book Reviews. And I trust his opinion on it, and I know it's going to be a series I'm going to enjoy. I was initially going to read this sometime in November, but because of when the books arrived and just kind of what I have going on right now, it's just not going to work. I probably won't be able to get to it, unfortunately, until January, but hey, I figure that's going to be the perfect time. It's very dark here in the Pacific Northwest in the winter, and I think it's going to be a perfect fit for this series. But Broken Binding did it again. I'm kind of happy I waited until finding copies of this series, because these are gorgeous. And again, you always take the chance that you're not going to like one of these series, and can get pretty costly, but I'm feeling pretty confident that this is going to be right in my wheelhouse. So another gorgeous series to add to my book collection, and I just have the best hopes for it. Again, I will let you guys know when I'm going to start my Last War journey. I hope to make it as soon as possible. Again, I'm thinking January. Finally, to end, just some events, just some things that were going on. Last week, I had a wonderful live stream with Tori from Tori Talks, where we discussed books, we discussed booktube, we discussed writing. Man, it was a lot of fun, and I'm very appreciative to Tori for inviting me onto one of her Motley Crew chats. I've always enjoyed watching them, and to actually be a participate to one it just meant the world to me. I was thrilled with all the people who showed up in the comments and were participating in the discussions. It was very casual, so it was fun to just chat with not only Tori but all the people in the comments and the discussion boards. So thank you if you showed up. I really appreciate it. It meant a lot to me. This is kind of why I got into booktube, was these live discussions. They're just a lot of fun, getting to know fellow booktubers and getting to know the people that watch booktube, and it's just a lot of fun, and I'm glad I had that opportunity. The other event we have going on is a live streams are starting up on Sundays with my friend and fellow booktuber Laura from Fantasy Awash. Mentioned this last week, but we are going to start our next TV show discussion with One Piece. With One Piece, we are both going in blind. The only thing we have seen of One Piece is the Netflix show, which is what we are going to be discussing. We haven't seen the animated anime version of One Piece or have read the actual books. So we're just going to primarily focus on our thoughts to the Netflix show and just base our like for the series based on that, and give you guys some insight. These will be on Sundays, so probably the same day I release my weekly wrap-up. So our first one is the 19th, and that will be at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time and 4:30 Pacific time, which is my time. So and those are hosted on my channel. We would love to have you. We are very interactive with the people that show up to the discussions, so if you do and you want to partake in it, we will be looking for your comments, so please join us. Well, that's all for me today, guys. I will have links to where you can order or pre-order The Bloodstones by Tori Tekken and The Pathlighter by Rob Lee in the description below. Please support your indie and self-published authors. Again, my name is Christopher Navo. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next chapter. Take care. So, starting off with what I read last week, I read Off to a good start. You can pick it up today. It's released on the 20th. Why do you say today? So as to what I'm currently reading, well, I am continuing. So as to what I'm currently reading. So if you are watching this recording on the day it's released, that will be tomorrow, as this video is out on Sunday. Duh. Rob's prose is very straightforward. It's very straightforward. How straightforward? Oh my God.